Hello again, beautiful artists, and welcome back to another episode of Paint Along with Skye. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Skye, and I post beginning level acrylic painting tutorials here on YouTube every Saturday. So make sure to hit subscribe so you can join the fun and paint along. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. All right, so happy holidays from the American Southwest. We are doing a very appropriately themed, for me at least, Cactus Christmas painting today. So I have a large rectangular canvas that I'm going to be working on today, and I'm going to be using my 3 standard brushes that I use in most classes. So I have a square 1-inch wash brush, I have a medium-sized pointed brush, and then I also have a small detail brush. Going to get all 3 of those brushes in the water cup off the side of the screen. If you'd like to see a full materials list of everything that you'll need to paint along, go ahead and check the description box below. The colors that I'm going to start with for my background step, I'm going to be using a beautiful purple, some nice bright red, orange, yellow, and some black and white. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right in. So we are going to start with our biggest brush, and we're going to do our whole background gradation with this big guy to start here. So we're going to work from the top down, and you're going to want a little bit of water in that brush to have the paint go nice and smooth. And I'm going to start with a purple, and I'm just going to sneak a little bit of white into that purple, but still pretty vibrant, still pretty saturated. All right, and again, a little bit of water always helps that acrylic paint go nice and smooth. And then I'm going to apply it to my canvas in a back and forth manner all the way across the canvas. Okay, getting that paint soaked in there to the canvas texture, and we're going to bring that purple line down a couple inches. Just like so. We're working pretty quickly here because acrylic paint has the tendency to dry quickly, particularly when you are in an arid climate such as the Southwest. All right, and don't want the paint to pool too much, but a little bit of that water is helping my viscosity here. So I'm gonna start with my gradation now. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna sneak a little bit of my red into my purple. And I'm still going to be working with a little bit of white here. So I'm going to have this really pretty maroon, purplish red color. Also a little bit of water. And we're just going to go right underneath that purple. And then here is the somewhat tricky part. We're going to blend those 2 together. All right, don't be shy. Go ahead and go up into the purple all the way. Even bringing it all the way up to the top because it'll lose the amount of paint on the brush. You'll have less and less as you go across more and more, and it will blend more and more. A little hard to explain, but you will get the hang of it once you give it a try. Don't be shy. All right, and then I'm gonna grab a little bit of red. Still has a tiny bit of purple in it, but more along the red side. Kind of a pinkish purple. I'm just going to bring that color right underneath. So as you can see, I'm kind of walking my way here from purple to red. All right, just like so, creating a beautiful desert sunset with these nice, warm, soft colors. Again, going all the way up in there with this sort of damp brush. There we go. Okay, looking good. And now I'm going to actually start sneaking in a little bit of our orange. So I'm going to grab some orange and kind of mix that into my pink here. And just like so. Always have a little bit of white with these colors. Okay, I'm gonna bring that beautiful pinkish orange, loving these colors today, right up to my pink. Okay, just just like so. You don't want to get too much purple in this one though, because the orange and the purple will blend together to create like a brown, like a neutral brown, which is not ideal when you're working with sunsets. If you'd like to learn more about color theory, I do have a course called Color Theory 101. It's available on Udemy and Skillshare. There's links in the description box below to that course as well. It'll give you a little bit more info about how to mix certain colors and what happens when you blend the colors together. And we'll just give you a really nice rundown on acrylic color mixing. All right, now I have a little bit of light yellow. So that's just yellow and white. I'm not all the way at the bottom of my canvas. So there's a little bit of space still underneath. And I'm going to bring this beautiful sunny yellow up to meet my orange and blend it together in the same fashion. A little bit more of that bright yellow. And yep, just blending them together. Once you get there, just keeping all of those brush strokes going back and forth along, all the way off the canvas. Okay, very nice. Look at how nice that gradation looks. Those are such pretty colors. All right, just kind of refining all of those brush strokes. I think that looks really nice. I'm feeling it. All right, I'm just gonna take a little bit of bright yellow now and just bring it off the bottom here. So this is gonna be where our sun is coming up from. So we'll have a nice, vibrant yellow right along the horizon. If you've never been to the American Southwest, let me tell you, the sunsets, particularly here in New Mexico where it's the high desert, sunsets are unrivaled. Very beautiful and often quite vibrant, like our gorgeous composition that we have now. All right, that looks great. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of silhouette work now. We're just going to be going right on top of our yellow, so the paint is still going to be a little bit wet, but we're going to be working with black, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. And you can use either your medium brush or your small brush. I think I'm going to go ahead and start with my medium-sized brush. Almost brought my small brush in, but I think we'll probably use both. So now I'm just taking some of that black and getting it nice and liquidy by adding a little tiny bit of water. I want it kind of inky. All right, looks good. And over here is where we're gonna have our cactus, and here's where we're gonna have our little sun. So I wanna have kind of more of mountain action happening over here. So I'm gonna start with just a really simple like little mound on this side. And then over here, I'm gonna create some shapes. So I'm actually gonna come up a little bit and create sort of like a rectangle. And then I'm gonna have a little stack right next to that rectangle like so. And then maybe another little steep mountain like so. So we'll see more when we start to fill this in, kind of what shape we're left with. But the desert here has all these ancient rock formations, much of which are like volcanic plugs of old dormant volcanoes. And they create these really interesting structures, which I believe are called buttes. So I'm doing some buttes. And I feel like I'm getting a little bit of sort of like blending into my yellow there. So I might need to come back later with my small brush after all and clean that up slightly. And you want to have a little bit of yellow still poking out. So hopefully we didn't go too high up here with our desert, but that's all right too, even if you did. All right, we got our nice, very southwest looking mountains. And just getting that all filled in with that black. Should have enough coverage power to go right over the wet yellow without seeing the yellow too much. All right, perfect. Looking good. All right, I like it. I think I'm gonna do a little kind of extra hill over there just to keep things interesting. But I like what we got going on here. Just decided to add another little element there. It can really be however you like, because these are sort of like rock shapes. And they take a lot of different forms. So yes, I am going to take my small brush really quick and just go ahead and make these a little bit more refined here at the top, just like so, but I'm not gonna overwork it. And I'm just gonna go ahead now and let this layer dry, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna add our cactus and our sun and get everything all finished up. So I'll see everyone in a few. Okay, welcome back, artists. We have a dry background and fresh colors on our piece of palette paper here. So I have my primary colors of red, yellow, and blue, a little bit of phthalo green, and then some black and white again. I rinsed my brushes and got fresh water at break as well. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right back into it. So now the details. Let's grab our detail brush. And we're going to create our little sunset area over here, our actual sun itself, and then we'll work on our cactus and we'll be kind of jumping around here. So go ahead and just follow along. That's just to give everything like a minute to dry here and there. So let's start with a nice bright light yellow with our detail brush and a little bit of yellow mixed with mostly white. And we're gonna create our sun, and I'm gonna put my sun in like the orange area. And we're just gonna do a circle, nothing too tricky there. If you are a perfectionist and you would like to make sure that you have a perfect circle, you can just grab something circular in your house and trace around it. I'm offhand can't think of anything quite this size, but maybe like a silver dollar or like the top of a champagne flute. My dishware is usually where I go to find circular shapes, but it doesn't need to be perfect. In my opinion, it can be a little bit, you know, homemade feeling. I think that's fine. So I just have my light yellow circular sun there, nothing too tricky. And now we're going to hop over to our main cactus shape and color. Let's go ahead and still use that same small detail brush. And I'm going to mix my phthalo green with some of my bright yellow and some white. That's gonna get us our little true cactus color here. A little bit more white. They're actually pretty light in color, and these are the saguaro cactus that I'm painting, which is actually not the high desert, that's lower down. But these cacti are really big. If you're not from the Southwest, you probably wouldn't expect that they are like the size of a building, not the size of a person. So I was really surprised when I saw that when I was down in Tucson this summer. All right, so I'm gonna trying to decide kind of where with my mountains here I want to center this, and I think it is going to end up kind of right near that mountain peak right there, maybe a little bit further over. And we're just going to start with a straight up and down line. This is our focal point in the painting, so don't be shy with the size here. You want to have a nice tall cactus. We're just gonna have a little curve at the top and come down the other side. I'm probably gonna fatten that up a little bit, but I always like to start small. That way I can make it bigger if I need to, but it's much harder to make it smaller. You gotta, especially with a gradation like this, you gotta try to match all those colors from behind, which would be a nightmare, but there's nothing that you can't fix with acrylic paint, because you can always go over it if you have to. All right, nice tall saguaro shape here, and then just gonna go ahead and fill that in with that same green. And I think I'm gonna grab now, actually my medium-sized brush, just to speed things up a little bit. And I need more green than I thought, so I'll just mix it up a little bit more. Okay, and yeah, I'm gonna bring it out just a little bit more. Probably on either side. You don't want to make it, like I said, too big though. So we can't adjust it the other way. But I want to go a little bit further out just to balance it. Okay, that looks just about right. Looks like a big pickle. Big Christmas pickle. It'll look much more cactus-y once we add the little side elements. I'm not sure what those are called. I always need to brush up on my floral anatomy or boat anatomy or whatever it is that I'm painting. I'm never fully as prepared as I think I am to talk about the subject matter. So please forgive me. And if there's any botanists watching today, let me know in the comment section what the little other sections of the canvas are. Other sections of the cactus, excuse me, canvas. See, I know those words. All right, I pulled a little bit of black in through my cactus shape there too, and I'm not gonna worry too much about that right now. I guess it wasn't completely fully all the way dry, but we're gonna add some highlights and shadows into this shape in just a minute, so that can be a shadow. We'll work with that later. All right, and then I'm gonna do two little cactus arms. That's what I'm going to call them. Coming out from either side here, really simple. Just gonna do kind of like a L shape. And then these are going to also have that same sort of curved top, and they're gonna go straight up and down. Little mini section of our cactus. Just like so, and then just meeting the main part of the cactus, like so. Okay, can be a little bit fatter as you get here towards this curved part. Very nice. Okay, yeah, that looks good to me. Just about right. Look at how southwest we're feeling right now. Really classic shapes, and when you're here, it really does look like this. We have different kinds of cactus here. We have the kind that have like the flat, like kind of circular type shape. I'm not sure what those are called. Those are super cool. They have, I guess they're prickly pear cactus because they have the prickly pear fruit, which I ate this summer a couple times. Did some foraging. That was really fun. But if it was one of those prickly pear type cactuses, this could be a scene right outside my house. So I can see a little bit through that, and that is kind of annoying me, but let's go ahead and let that dry for just a second. And I'm gonna go back over to my sun, and I'm gonna add a couple little pink clouds. This is an optional step. You don't have to do this if you don't want. If you like to just have a nice clear sky, that is more than okay. But I'm gonna grab a little bit of pink, which is gonna be red and white together. And right in front of my sun here, I'm gonna have a few like streaky clouds on this side of the sun, just like so. I'm gonna take a little bit of a darker red to kind of shade the bottom, like so. And then kind of wipe my brush a little bit, and then take a little bit of white right up top. So you are adding some highlights and shadows, even in those very small little cloud shapes. So these are white clouds that are lit up pink by our setting sun. It's kind of a play, a little back and forth detail action, but when it's all said and done, I think it adds a nice little element. Okay, and then I'm going to do another one right next door just to get everything kind of balanced and nice and pretty long with this one. Long stripy cloud. So cute. A little bit of red there at the bottom. Makes it so it doesn't get so lost in our sunset color as well. Add some highlights and shadows onto that shape. There we go. All right, and then I just wiped my brush off a little bit so that I wouldn't take the red up here. I'm just gonna take a little bit of white for the highlights for the top part of the clouds. All right, and I think actually that my son might need a second coat of paint of that light yellow color, but I'm gonna do that also in just a second. For now, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that as is, but I'm going to flip that brush around and dip that in my white. And I'm going to add a couple of stars all around my sky, just like so, as if the night is coming in. All right, very cute, I like it. Let's go work on our cactus again now for a couple of steps. Again, kind of jumping around today, but just bear with me. Gonna do some highlights now. I'm going to take some of my white. I'm just gonna put that right into my green. And it's okay if your cactus is a little bit wet because you'll get some nice wet on wet blending here. But what we wanna do is have these curved brush strokes here along the top part of the canvas as our highlight, just like so. And we are gonna bring them all the way down and through our cactus shape as well. And you can just see how it starts to come alive. And a couple little brush strokes here on our smaller sections. Does not need to be exact though. All right, so it's just kind of the suggestion of these divots in the shape of the canvas, but we're not gonna go and take an even smaller brush and find out where each one of those is and be real detail oriented today, because that is not the name of the game. I like to keep things simple on this channel for all ages, skill levels, and also just because I guess I'm a little bit lazy. I like to paint like this, stylized. All right, and then some shadows as well, same idea. So now I'm gonna take a darker green. So it's gonna be more of that phthalo and less white. And here's where I'm going to put those shadows. I think I'm gonna grab even a little bit of black to go a little bit darker. And here's where we can kind of mend any areas down here that got blended slightly with the black from behind. And then just adding a few streaks throughout, kind of in between where the highlight colors are, and just giving our cactus some nice definition, making it pop. All right, that's what it's all about, is finding the main shapes, getting those base colors put on, and then adding highlights and shadows. Little flicks of the wrist, very gentle amount of brushstroke pressure here. Okay, that looks good. All right, now I think our sun might be dry enough to add a second coat. Let me just really quick, bear with me before we move over there. I just want to make this side of my cactus a little bit straighter. Okay. Detail oriented. All right, and then I'm gonna go back to my sun really quick. And I think I wanna make it a little bit brighter as well. So it's nice to do a coat of a really light color first. Sometimes something like a light yellow doesn't have very much coverage power in the paint, not very much opacity. So oftentimes you'll need a second coat. And I'm just using my small detail brush to go in there. You might not even need a second coat. So this is just for me to have a nice bright yellow ball in the sky that I can't see through. Just like so. If you're doing this in your yellow, you might need to not do the bright yellow and instead do like a light yellow. So more white, so you want to still have the contrast, but yeah, see, doesn't that look better? I think so. All right, let's go back over to our cactus. And now I'm going to use that same detail brush and the dark green again. So a little bit of green and black mixed together. We're going to be doing our lights now, and that's kind of the most important part. We don't want too dark of a green to where it looks like black, so I'm allowing a little bit of that super light green to get in there. All right. This part can be a little bit tricky. We don't want to do too many lights. That was my mistake with the first one. So I'm just going to do a couple little strings of lights here and kind of just eyeball things before I apply these first brush strokes. So this is going to be the string where the lights are put on, just like so. And then maybe one coming up from the bottom. So not too many. And then maybe we'll go around these guys as well. Very nice. Okay, kind of curving my brush to make it look like it's going around. Just like so. All right, you want to make sure that you have enough room between everything to still get enough lights on there. And then from those main lines, this almost looks like a vine or something. We're going to do little brush strokes, just really small. That's going to be where our lights connect. And some will kind of be off the edge, like so. And less is more, which, you know, usually you think when you're decorating a tree, you want to have lots of lights. But I find that we don't want to overpower our cactus. We want to make sure that it still looks nice and cactusy. All right, and we actually need to let this dry for another second because we got to have really nice bright colors here for our colored lights. So let's just take 5 minutes and step away for a minute, and we'll come back with our final step. Okay, welcome back to the final step, the piece de la resistance. Going to still use our small little detail brushes. We're just going to be adding our colored lights onto our gorgeous Christmas cactus. And you can do really whatever colors that you like here. But I'm gonna do the primary colors plus green. Okay, so I really wanna go for that classic, big, you know, like old vintage glass ornament look. Growing up in my grandparents' house, that was the kind that we had. That's really nostalgic for me and just fun. So now I'm gonna go on to my cactus and I'm going to start, looks like I'm starting with yellow. You can really start with whatever color you like. And it would be like every fourth one would be yellow. So that one will be the only yellow one there. And let's say we have 1, 2, 3, fourth one yellow over here. Like so. We get to decorate our Christmas cactus. So cute. All right, just like so. Just creating a little oval shape all over our cactus. So cute. Just like so. Less is more. Little details. Gonna rinse my brush now. And let's do red now. And I might add just a little bit of white. so that it's ever so slightly pink, but not all the way to pink. So again, still pretty saturated and still pretty vibrant, just with a little bit more opacity. Just like so, and just attaching them to all those little dark green brush strokes that we made earlier. Like so, looking so cute. Okay, and then blue, and then we'll probably just have a couple that are green. Same idea, I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of white, but again, still pretty vibrant. A little bit of blue, really getting that classic vintage Christmas look. Super cute. Just like so. All right, every little area, make sure you don't leave any of those little green brush strokes by themselves. Don't want them sticking out. Okay, and I think actually I'd like to do a red one up here. There. Very nice. Looking super cute. And then just a couple green ones. I want to do a really bright yellowy green so that we have a nice contrast here. And it's not the exact same color as our cactus. Oh, that was a little too dark. There we go. That's about what I want. Okay, very nice. And we'll just have a few green bulbs as well as our final little step in our last color here. Very nice. Oh, I have one sticking out from the side right there. Looks pretty cute. All right, I'm gonna grab now just a tiny bit of white to finish these off. And I'm going to have a little highlight in each one of these. You don't wanna go too heavy-handed. And you'll probably need to clean your brush stroke or clean your brush off after each brush stroke or a couple brush strokes so that you're not blending all those colors together. Yes, a nice little highlight on each one. You can add a second layer of color as we go all around too. Little tiny water drop there. Little bit of white on each bulb is really the piece de la resistance of our Christmas cactus. If you are painting along today, I would love to see your work. And we've created a Facebook group called the Art Club, full of students from Paint Along with Skye, and then also just welcome to share your art from your own studio as well. We would love to have you join us over there. Link in the description box below to check that out. Okay, a little bit more white here, just a few more little brush strokes. This is also just a very light touch and a less is more kind of thing. You want to make sure you still have some of that color underneath visible. Oh, I brought a little bit of green into my yellow there. So I'm just going to touch that up real quick. Just like so. And then go back at it with some clean white. All right. And just a few more. All right. Very cute. Please let me know what you thought of today's painting in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you. Please hit like if you like this painting, and that is all the instruction that I have for us this week. So until next time, happy holidays and stay creative.